Hello, welcome to my first ever video. I wanted to start the channel off with a topic it's pretty hot at the moment. It's something I felt passionate about. I've seen quite a few of these videos and always find people's different perspectives are, quite interesting to listen to. You had people who rated Mythic to a seriously high level, people who were just, clearing heroic with their guild on a Wednesday and a Sunday. Um, but yeah, as of a few days ago, I recently cancelled my sub for World of Warcraft for the first time in over 7 years. I did cancel it in Walls of Draenor, as everybody else did. Um, but yeah, since then it's pretty much just been running. I was raiding Mythic in Castle Nathia, and our guild were just starting to progress. Um, Mythic in Sanctum of Domination. We got the Tower Guru down. Um, so yeah. I've also been on the more casual side where I wasn't really pushing content to the maximum. So I feel I've got a good base for covering different aspects of WoW life where it's, going really hardcore in Mythic and pushing really high keys, or, just doing tens and getting ahead of the curve at a reasonable pace. The elephant in the room, obviously, is the most recent lawsuit for Blizzard, and that for me personally was the final straw. Haven't seen the effects that this sort of thing can have on people's lives, and how it just continues with them in years and years down the line. I just can't support the company. I can't give them money. I don't want to pay with gold. I just, I don't want to support them. But I fully support people that do. I don't agree with people harassing people who are still playing World of Warcraft, or, streaming it and this and that. Like, it's a personal choice. And, on the other side of that coin, there's women who have been affected by this lawsuit who still work there. And people are doing it to support those people and not let the game die because of a few bad eggs. But like I say, a personal choice for me. I had a raid on Sunday, and I just said I wasn't coming. I can't do it anymore. I just couldn't log into the game. And obviously with the Mythic Guild, it's, I don't want to be a drag on the other people in the guild and not showing up. So I've just quit the game. Obviously fully support the victims of this horrific investigation, and I hope people who have done these crimes are, face some serious time, or whatever. There needs to be some serious restructuring in Blizzard. But yeah, so the first reason why I've quit World of Warcraft is the systems. The many systems of WoW they're just flat out not enjoyable to deal with. And not only this, is like you have this thought in your back of your head where you know that this time, this effort that you're putting in is for nothing. It's meaningless. The next patch, there's going to be 5 other systems that replace this system. There's going to be hand catch-up gear that's higher rank level than, I don't know, heroic raiding, and it's just going to be handed to everyone, and you just feel like you're not getting anywhere, and you try to get excited for it. When 9.1 was coming out, we were so desperate for content, and I know I was. But even in the back of my mind, I thought, what's the point? Let's take the Shard of Domination, for example. This humongous system, which just isn't, it's just not interesting. It's boring changes to your character. A couple of percentage increases in damage. I'd say you just see big numbers. They buffed it so that apparently the powers were crazy. And they were needed. You need them because of the power increase is just that good now. It comes with its own currency, different types of shards, different effects. Just all this complicated things that needed, balancing, thinking of. Like, it took creative power to think of that, even though they're so basic. Like, someone had to think of that, they had to do it. And then what, all for what? Someone to just go on Wowhead, type in, hunter, marksman hunter, best shards, okay, unholy, right, that's it. And you just hope that you get those shards. And then, is there even any point to that system? Because prior to 9.1 came out, they were already hinting at bringing back tier sets in not this raid, the next one, so 9.2. So that's Domination Socket's gone. A complete waste of resources, creating and balancing that system for absolutely nothing. It's pointless. You just feel that sense of, I am wasting my time because I'm going to try to gain this for, in Shadowlands terms, probably 2 years until 9.2 comes out. It's just going to go away anyway, and all of that's for nothing. An example similar to this is the endless amount of time that they put into Warlords of Draenor garrisons, which basically destroyed the entire expansion. There's the graveyard in, I think it's the Alliance garrison, where it's raid D tier, because it killed an entire raid because they'd put that much time and effort into it that they didn't have enough time to make a full tier. And do you know where they are now? Rotting, untouched, and abandoned. There's literally no reason for you to go back to your garrison. This thing that basically destroyed and made one of the worst expansions ever, because due to lack of content, the content that was there was amazing. The raid Blackrock Foundries is one of the best raids ever. The tier sets were cool, like, amazing raid, but because of the garrisons and the amount of resources they had to put into it, they couldn't expand on the game, so it was dead before it even came out. Legion Order Halls, some of the most enjoyable content I can remember. It brought back the class identity. You had really cool rewards with your artifact weapons, getting different skins for your artifact weapons, your class mounts, this bustling hub of people all playing your class. You could look at other people of your class, look at their transmogs, look at their gear, compare yourself to another rogue or another mage, or it had all these cool things. And again, where are they now? Rotting, untouched, and abandoned. Which is just the basic trend of Blizzard. Invest an insane amount of manpower into creating some system, or whatever you want to call a garrison, is a system, a gameplay mechanic, whatever it is. You put all this time and effort into it, and then it's just gone. It's just absolutely deleted, and you've wasted all that time. Like, imagine the amount of time people put into building their garrisons, getting all the shipyards, the different buildings, and it's like, what's the point? What's the point now? All that time has been absolutely wasted. Another topic of conversation, which is, it's pretty much been covered by every one of these videos, and Asmongold talks about it, Belluar constantly talks about it on his podcast, but old content, and how it's just not even slightly relevant at all. Not even a little bit. There are 56 raids in WoW, I believe. And do you want to know how many of those raids are currently relevant? 1. Sanctum of Domination is the only relevant raid in the entire game. Not even Castle Nathria, the raid that came out with Shadowlands, that is now irrelevant. Unless you're making an alt and you need to go and get a legendary from one of the bosses, but what's that? You're going to queue up, do LFR, get your legendary from Sludge Fist or whatever, and then you're never going to touch Castle Nathria again until, I don't know, the next 2 expansions, when you can go in and solo it for a transmog set. That's it. 56 raids, hundreds of bosses, all basically non-existent. Unless, like I said, you want to go in there solo to a few of them, have a tiny chance at getting a mount from a couple of the raids. Not every raid drops a mount. or you do them all for transmog once a week. Blizzard's effort to try and fix this is every few months, because I don't know if it's every time walking that has a raid you can access. I know Wrath, you can go to Ulduar, Cataclysm, you can go to Firelands, Burning Crusade is Black Temple. I'm not sure about the other time walkings, but whenever those are up, you can go and do that raid in time walking. But is there any incentive to do that? Some normal level raid gear, that's it. There's nothing else. There's no other reason to do that content. And then relating to the old content, because not all of it's been bad. Do you know what I mean? The Mage Tower was one of the best received pieces of content ever, and people they're dying to get it back. The rewards were amazing. Amazing weapon skins, druid forms, achievements. It was just fun to do. It was a challenge. And I think of it like this. Imagine if you owned a restaurant and people really liked this certain dish you made, and people were saying, oh, we would come here all the time if you served this, and then you just never served it again. That's what Blizzard are doing. You've got a community of players crying out to bring back good old content, and it's just ignored. It's just ignored. And you know, whenever people love to bring up that Blizzard is a business when Stormants are brought up, and you know, they are a business, you know, you need to make money. They need to make money, sorry. And it's like, yeah, they are a business. So why are they ignoring their customers when they're crying out for good things to come back to the game? Mage Tower is not going to save World of Warcraft, obviously, but it's a start in acknowledging the community and bringing back good, old, interesting content and making it relevant. Blizzard is also clearly really far behind schedule, obviously. 9.1 took 3 years to come out. 9.2 is definitely not coming out, as we've seen that with the current lawsuit, they're saying that all work on World of Warcraft are being halted. Why not utilise the foundation of all this content that's already in the game to help save time on, you know, asset? I don't really know much about game design, but there's all these assets, there's these instances already created. You could make it relevant again, saving more time and pumping out content when it's needed. Another topic which I actually haven't seen really many people talk about in these type of videos, but it's the overall toxicity in the WoW community. I'm not talking about the YouTube trend right now of shitting on Blizzard and shitting on World of Warcraft and, you know, loving Final Fantasy. I'm just talking about in-game toxicity. Because right now, if you do not have a guild, it's just not a fun place to be. The community is just so angry. There's no patience or time for anything other than absolute perfection. And I know we've all been there in a Mythic Plus where something goes wrong and someone just instantly leaves. And I don't think this is the player's fault. I truly think it's game design. And it goes through Mythic Plus, it goes for raiding, PvP, and even leveling. WoW seems to exert this sort of pressure that if I'm not doing something, I'm falling behind. And in the case of leveling, that, you know, if I'm not level 60, I'm not in a dungeon trying to get that best in slot trinket. I'm not pushing keys. I'm not in the raid team. I'm, you know, even the pressure in leveling to get to the end game immediately, buy a boost, it's there, it's constant. You just constantly feel like you're falling behind, because you think, oh, I haven't done 4 Mythic Pluses on a 15 this week. what if my only option in the Greatfall is something I already have, or it's a ring with bad stats on. Like I want to make sure I get 2 options at 252 item level, so I need to do 4 plus 15s this week to get the best possible option. Or I haven't done Corthia, and I need to do my Codex, because you can buy a domination gear piece from there in case I don't get one in the raid. And I think this all just leads to the player feeling stressed. And if someone's wasting my time and not doing something right, then in theory, they're holding me back from progressing, and I don't have time for it. And I get, people say like, I did this key, and it's like, this guy was an idiot, and it's like, obviously there's going to be bad players, and you're not going to time every key in a pickup group, obviously. But people just don't stick around to find out, because they feel like they need to keep up with Blizzard. They need to do this content now, because if they don't do it now, it's not relevant. People want Keystone Master, they want Ahead of the Curve, they want Cutting Edge, they want Gladiator, they want the Vicious Mount, they want all these things, and it's like, if you are not perfect, I do not have time for you. And again, I truly just don't think that's a player issue. I think it's the environment that Blizzard have created in how you play the game. Next topic is obviously a hot one. The devs hate the players and the players hate them. I don't think it's that simple. I think personally the people in charge just have no fucking idea what they're doing anymore. I really do think that there are people who are on the WoW team who did not want Covenants to be the way they are. They did not want Conduit Energy to even be a thing. They've probably brought up making all content relevant. They might have challenged domination sockets and said, why don't we just go back to basics? But I think it's just drowned out by the leads of the project and their holier than thou vision of how they want the game to be. And the relationship with the community, it just makes you feel like you aren't being listened to. A prime example for this, Preach Gaming, the first WoW channel I ever watched, a fair guy in my book. He doesn't really hate on WoW just for the sake of it. He's calculated, he does a lot of testing, he's been playing the game for a long time and he's been doing this job a long time. He pointed out major issues in BFA, Alpha or Beta, about Azerite gear. And I can't really remember, but there was so many issues that I think he called every issue in that expansion, and none of it was listened to. And I get it, some guy on YouTube doesn't speak for the community. That's what people say, but he does. He was right. It was horrible. It was unenjoyable. And you know what happened? A patch or two later, they changed it to exactly what everyone said they would. They said would fix it pre-release. People had these suggestions in PTR. This is what you need to make this okay. Let's just try it out. Because let's just try it out in Blizzard terms is a 6-month patch. It's not let's just try it out for the first 3 weeks of the game. It's 6 months. We had to suffer for months just for them to change it all anyway. And I just think, why? You lost so many people due to this system. It just was not enjoyable. People left the game for that reason, and they didn't need to leave the game for that reason. There could have been another reason they left, but you had good suggestions and people who have played the game long enough to spot these horrible systems you put in place and how they're going to affect not just the 1%, just regular players. You don't have to be a world first raider to find getting a piece of loot that is unusable because of the traits are rubbish annoying. Anyone who plays the game finds that annoying. Why do I have to go and refarm this piece of gear because of this just pointless stuff that's attached to it. And it's obviously not the only time this has happened. Covenant is another great example. They honestly thought players would pick the one that they felt most connected to, which I can't even wrap my head around how disconnected you need to be to not know that all anyone is going to do is Google Hunter Best Covenant Night Fair. Okay, I played Hunter this patch. I went Night Fair. 9.1 was coming out. What did I do? I googled Hunter Best Covenant 9.1. Apparently Kyrian's taken over. Okay, I switched to Kyrian. This was called by basically anyone with half a brain that this is what the community was going to do. And when the metrics came out, which I'm pretty sure Preach covered as well, it's exactly what we did. 70-80% of hunters who did PvE were playing Night Fair in 9.0. The PvP hunters were playing Kyrian, I think. Warriors were all then Fear. Druids were all Night Fair. DKs were Necrolords. Everyone just went with what the best was. And it was obvious that they were going to do that. The last reason I'm deciding to leave the game is the boosting. WoW is now pay to win, and nobody could change my mind on this. I see people saying that it isn't. WoW is pay to win. I could literally buy anything obtainable in WoW with money. All I need to do is buy a WoW token, put it on the auction house, wait a couple of hours, sell them, and then click into trade chat, click into LFG. I could buy Gladiator, I could buy Cutting Edge, I could buy... They're even selling Glory of the Raider achievements, Rare Mounts, Time Lost, Void Talent. Some of them I've mentioned there are the most prestige things in WoW. Gladiator, Cutting Edge. And then now, if you have enough money, or your mum's credit card, you can just buy all of those things. So what's the point in slugging through 2-3 hour raid nights with your guild, or even longer for some guilds, when you can literally just pay someone to do it for you, tag the boss, die, and get everything? Gone is inspecting someone looking cool with a full mythic set, as you probably just think, he bought it. See someone on a Gladiator mount, did he buy it? How much did he pay? Looking for group is just littered with advertisers and trade chat. It's just boost chat. I don't even have it enabled anymore because it's just a mess. It's just streaming street. It's just up, message after message after message. But, you know, it's raising Blizzard's profits. Even though they lost a substantial amount of players, they made more money than they've ever made ever. So, you know, Bobby's happy, the mini Bobbies are happy, all those who have shades, everyone's happy. They're making more money than they've ever made. But the player base is miserable. There's not as many players, and they've destroyed the game. They've destroyed anything that an MMORPG stands for in character progression. There's no need to do anything anymore. And, you know, people could say, well, you know, your own self-worth and integrity of not buying it. And it's like, yeah. But like I said, if you did really put that effort in to get Cutting Edge, how does anyone know about that? Random players aren't checking your passes. They're not going on Warcraft logs and looking at you pass. on Mythic Side and Aphrius, they're just looking at your gear and assuming that you bought it because it's all anyone's advertised with is buy, 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 buy. So even if you have all the integrity in the world, you've never bought a boost, other people don't think of you, and shock, it's an MMORPG, people mean something. And if people don't care what you've achieved, then what's the point in playing anyway? So, what is the plan now? Well, after around 13 years of game time, I've finally uninstalled the game. The sub's cancelled, and I truly just don't think I'll ever be coming back, because I even think, if they did bring back old content, people are just going to be selling carries for it anyway. Player housing probably be gold based, and yeah, you can just buy gold. I hear these suggestions. I watch the clips from Belluaz podcast. I watch Asmongold, and everyone has all these suggestions to how to make it better, and I honestly just think it's a lost cause. I don't think player housing is going to fix it. I don't think Mage Tower is going to fix it. I don't think making all this old stuff relevant is going to fix it. You've got the boosting issue, you've got the players and the devs, it's the lawsuit. I just can't see it being ever what it was. And then obviously the whole thing with TBC, the monetization, the deluxe edition, the dead classic WoW servers, and they're still charging £8 off, $15 to. It's basically unplayable. You can't play the game. It's solo. It's Fallout. You're basically playing Fallout if you're playing on a classic WoW server. And they're still charging you money for that. An automated system, by the way. They probably ran the script on character transfers and all those little things you can buy. They probably ran that program the day it came out, and they've never touched it since, and it's just printed money. As for me, much like many other people, I've started my journey in Final Fantasy XIV as a Dragoon. Seriously though, it's an amazing game. But I'll leave that for another video. Thanks for watching. Please give me some feedback if you have any, as it has been my first video. I've been incredibly nervous. But yeah, thanks for watching. Peace.